Alrighty, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time Out with Doc and Caveman. You are here, as always, with Dr. Fantasy and my co-host, the Fantasy Caveman. Before we get rolling, please make sure you subscribe on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you get notifications anytime we post great NBA content for you guys. We are continuing on almost in the top 5 players here. This is, I believe, number 6 on our list right now, and it wasn't our. We were using someone
Wasn't
else's
us.
list.
It wasn't us. And
I
as
don't
you will
think we would have Kuminga number 6, but today we're talking about Jonathan Kuminga, 6'7", 7-foot wingspan, which is important to note, 210 pounds, played for the G League Ignite team developmental program last year, averaged 15.8 points, 7.2 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 38% from the field, 24% from the three-point line, and 62% from the free throw line. Those are numbers that leave a lot to be desired, folks. So, Caveman, what fun fact do you have on Kuminga here?
he sucks.
Wow.
No, that's actually so. I don't know how you do it at this age, but apparently in the Congo, where he's from, he began playing basketball at the age of 2.
Okay.
How do you even? What is playing basketball at the age of 2? Really?
He was dunking on little hoops.
I mean, I guess, but yeah, apparently he started playing basketball at the age of 2 in the Congo. So, let's I guess talk about some strengths. I think the biggest thing is we talk about athleticism all the time, but I think the one thing that you could say about him is that he knows how to use his athleticism to his advantage. And you got a lot of guys that just are really athletic and just try to use their athleticism and they don't know how to use it properly. I think Kuminga's one of those guys that really knows how to use it, and that is going to definitely help him out at the next level. Another thing, probably the biggest thing I like about him is the fact that when he's inside, he can finish with both hands. And that's one of the biggest things that you talk about, you hear me mention all the time, is when a guy goes inside, is he finishing with just one hand or is he finishing with both hands? So I think that's going to be really big for him too, to just limit his predictability at the next level. And then the final thing I will say, he does move pretty well without the ball. He's never really standing around or stagnant. He's always moving. He's always trying to get to the right spot. As you see him move without the ball and get a nice dunk. But yeah, I think that's something that you see a lot of guys just kind of wait around and just trying to wait for the ball to get to them. But he makes the right play when he doesn't have the ball. He always seems to know about the right spot to get to.
Yeah, and I do think that he has some things to like. You mentioned his explosiveness, and he's not only an athlete. I mean, a lot of people say he's a freak athlete. He could arguably be the best athlete in this class. He really could. And you said you mentioned it too. He does know how to use it. I mean, he has great explosiveness. He's an athlete, and I wasn't the only one that thought he was the best athlete in this class. There's a lot of people that share that opinion, and that's why for a lot of people he's a top 5 pick right now. I don't get obsessed with athleticism, but one of the things that I think he has going in his favor is that he uses that athleticism to be a great defender. When you're an athlete like that and you have a 7-foot wingspan, there's a lot of defensive potential. I mean, he legitimately can guard the 1 through 4 easily in the NBA. And realistically, he'll be able to guard a lot of the big men too if he puts on a little more weight. I mean, he's 210 pounds. He's not a small guy, but if he puts on even a little more weight, there's not really a position I don't think he wouldn't be able to defend. So, I mean, that's going to be a huge advantage in his favor. So that versatility is going to be huge. You mentioned the off ball. I think that's going to be play into his favor as well. He makes good cuts. But yeah, I mean, I agree with what a lot of what you said. I think it's just kind of putting an exclamation mark on his defensive ability / versatility. I mean, besides that, it's the athleticism, the length, things that you can't necessarily teach somebody. So on the weaknesses side, I mean, we talked about those percentages. That's rough. A lot of that has to do with he wasn't taking great shots. But then you also have to question what kind of potential does he have if he was if he if his free throw percentage was that low. So I think that's a legitimate concern is can he learn to take good shots and then can he make them consistently? It's kind of on both ends. He's very raw offensively and very raw to a point where it's concerning to me because there's a lot of developing to do. Now, I believe he's only barely 19, so he is a young guy. I mean, we're talking about some of these other guys that are 23, like Duarte and Davion Mitchell, who was a junior at Baylor. I mean, this is a guy that's 2 or 3 years away from, 4 years away from being the same age as Duarte. So he has potentially he can develop into an offensive threat, but as of right now, poor shot selection, doesn't consistently make shots, turns over the ball. A lot of concerns offensively.
Yeah, it's not pretty. It's just it is very rough, and like they're just not bad. Like 30, like under 40% from the field. Like,
Yeah.
what? I mean, it's a cop out to just blame the shot selection, which is not good. To be kind, his mechanics are also very out of whack. He doesn't have the same, almost like he doesn't have the same form from shot to shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll see two. If you see two plays next to each other, they're going to be completely different forms, and that's how I just don't understand. If he's been playing basketball since the age of 2, you would think he wouldn't be inconsistent with his shot. You think by now he would have had a shot form and mechanics that were at least consistent. But they're not. And that's extremely concerning for me. And I think that's why I'm not very high on him at all, is that while he might be in the conversation for the best athlete in the class, if your shot mechanics are that bad and that awful and inconsistent, I just don't see how that's going to translate into the NBA that well. And I would like to say that he can improve it, but if he's really been playing basketball since the age of 2, at what point is he gonna? At what point are we just gonna be? It's like, okay, this is him at this point, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that that's fair to a certain extent, and I think it's definitely gotta be said. So let's go to some ideal fits here. Now, this was slightly tough for me.
The G
Now,
League.
the G
It's
League,
not even
yeah.
just there.
So, like I said, I do think he has a lot of defensive upsides. So I think if anything, that's going to at least keep him around in the NBA. If he never develops offensively, then you get kind of a high level defender, and that's what it is. So to me, though, it's really important. I'm only going to say one team here. I'll let you talk about the other ones. I'm going to talk about Kawhi Leonard for a second, and there's a reason for that because I think that there's some similarities here. But I really think he needs to go to Golden State. I think he needs Golden State more than Golden State needs him, if we're being honest about it. But I think this is a guy that really needs to go to a established team with an established coaching staff that can take him to the next level. And I think that's got to be Steve Kerr and the Warriors. If he goes to a team like the Magic that are relying on him or in kind of in flux right now, I think that's really concerning. If he goes to a team like the Kings, yes, they need a defensive guy presence like this, but I don't trust that coaching staff. I don't trust that program enough. So I think he needs to go to a program like Golden State where he's not going to be relied on to be the guy right now. He can, wait another 4 years. And in 4 years, he'll be 22, 23 when Steph's getting older, when Clay's up there, when they need their next superstar. And it's similar to what Kawhi did in San Antonio. And the reason I bring that up is because I do see some similarities. I really do. Kawhi has a 7'3 wingspan at the same height as Kuminga. They're very long guys. They're about the same weight. Kawhi was this weight coming out. He's only about 15 pounds heavier now. And Kawhi he only shot 29% from 3-point in college. Fun fact, he was a really bad 3-point shooter at San Diego State coming in. And a lot of Kawhi's potential in the first round was as a defensive specialist that you hope develops offensively. And I would argue that Kawhi would not be the superstar he was today without Pop in the Spurs program. I think we could be talking about a potential bust. Not to put, not discredit what Kawhi's done, but he was put in the perfect situation to develop. And I think that's what Kuminga is going to need. I don't think that he's going to be successful unless he goes to, I'm looking at the other teams that are picking towards the top of the draft. I almost think it has to be the Warriors. And I think the Warriors with 2 top 15 picks can afford to take a guy like this. You say, if he doesn't turn out, we get a great defender. If he does, we have the guy that's replacing Steph Curry. And I know that's crazy to say, but if you give him more time to develop in the right program and and I'm not going to diss the coaching that he's gotten, but maybe he hasn't been aligned with the right coaches, even though he's been playing since he's 2 years old. When you put him together, one of the greatest coaches in the world, that could really change the course of his career. So that's all I wanted to say. I see some similarity, and we're not to the NBA comps yet, but Kawhi Light obviously was one of mine, and I'm just going to say Golden State, and you can go through the other fits that you have.
The G League.
I know. I just went on like a whole soliloquy about him versus Kawhi, so I'm done.
Yeah, and that's why you saw me kind of cover my face. I didn't really want to look at you when you were talking about that. But if we're the only team for me that, and I feel as I'm talking about him, I feel kind of bad that like I feel bad that I don't like him this much, but that's just the reality of it. I went with Oklahoma City. I don't hate the Golden State fit. My only concern is if I'm Golden State, I'm kind of more gearing towards a guy that's ready to win now, because I think the Warriors with Steph, Steph's not old. Steph's approaching the end of his prime. I think he's still in it, but he's approaching the end of it. Klay Thompson coming off the two ACL tears. You don't know how much eliteness Klay Thompson has left. Draymond Green feels like he's been around for 90 years. I think you need a guy that can help you win now. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of the Golden State fit. Thunder, simply because if he's going to turn into a superstar, he's going to need time, and he's going to need zero pressure on him to contribute right away. And if we're being honest, probably aside from Shai, nobody has pressure on the Thunder to beat anything aside from Shai. So I think if he has a chance to be a superstar in this league, I think it's going to come from a team like OKC where he can just develop.
Yeah, and I could see that. The reason that I said the Warriors too, and I think they can afford to make a pick like that, they can take a guy like that with the 14th pick. They can take Chris Duarte with the 14th pick, or one of those other guys that are a little, Franz Wagner, maybe one of those more refined prospects at 14, and maybe they take an upside guy at 7. They could also reverse it. They could take someone they think, maybe Moses Moody at 7, and then a developmental prospect at 14. Either way, I do think that they have a little bit of flexibility, and they can do it either way. But yeah, so that's why I like him in Golden State. But yeah, Oklahoma. I did have OKC down as well, and the Magic. They have the 5th and 8th overall picks, and realistically, there's no pressure on them. They're gonna stink next season. But to me, when you have the 5th and 8th pick in a team that really has no potential as of now, you need to grab 2 star players. That could change that franchise if they pick 2 star players for those picks. So. But okay, let's go to some NBA comparisons. I mentioned Kawhi, which obviously I'm not saying he's going to become Kawhi, but I see similarities. The other one I saw a lot of people say, I'm just going to throw it out there just for, I don't know, because I think it's fun. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I saw a lot of Jaylen Brown, which was really kind of interesting to me. I think Kuminga honestly has more defensive ability right now. Not that Jaylen Brown's a bad defender, but Kuminga I think has even more upside as a defender. And I don't know. I think Jaylen Brown was a little more refined offensively coming out. So I don't know if I love that comparison, but interesting one. The one that I more so like on the lower end, I mentioned this guy before, but I think once again, a lengthy wing kind of player, an all-level defender that defends multiple positions. But Jonathan Isaac was another guy that came to me. I think that's kind of the worst-case scenario is you're just getting an elite-level defender out of Kuminga. And that's not what you want out of a top 5 pick, but, it's better than being a complete bust.
Yeah. And I don't really have him down as a comparison, but I was joking with you before that he's Anthony Bennett, but no, as much as I don't like him, I don't think he's going to completely bust to the point where he's going to be out of the league. His defensive versatility and ability is going to keep him in the league, at least to have a role somehow. So I had my big name, and this is to me is probably his ceiling is OG Anunoby. Similar styles, especially on the defensive end. OG Anunoby can guard multiple positions and has done it pretty well for Toronto, which I think it'd be another interesting team to watch out for him to potentially go to. But I see a lot of shades of him as well. And then a guy like I got Andrew Wiggins as well as another name. Andrew Wiggins has never put it together quite yet offensively. So I think he has Andrew Wiggins upside as well as he's able to improve that 3-point ability, which I'm very pessimistic he's ever going to be a good 3-point shooter. It's just going to be extremely tough for him. But if he proves me wrong, and I hope he proves me wrong, and I'll be the first to admit if I'm wrong about him. But if we're being honest, I think out of everybody, and this might include last year, I might have to go back. But since we started doing these dating back to last year, this guy might be my least favorite prospect that we've ever done.
Wow. Cold world out here today for Jonathan Kuminga. Cold world. So I agree, though. I think he does have a lot of bust potential. I think that's why I think it's important he goes to such a good system. So we'll see. Maybe he somehow slides to the Spurs at 12 and Pop just completely resets the timeline with Jonathan Kuminga. Who knows? But I think that's all we have for Kuminga. So make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. And we will be heading into our top 5 next. So stay tuned for that.
Yep.